Is he like almost there?
He said he pulled in.
Okay. Rob, you moved out of the jury box? Oh, no, the, no, I don't care. No. We're just waiting for Councilman Troy, who is pulling into the parking lot, we're told. I guess we could start, what do you think?
It's like cold.
It's one or the other. It's freezing, it's...
I went to Troy's office for clothing yesterday. It was like 97 degrees. I'm like, you gotta turn the heat
Yeah, but that's what, right, that's what happens. They turn it on to certain things.
on. It's like, oh, Troy, not for nothing. I'm sweating.
Okay, I guess we can open it and say the
Yep.
pledge, right? Okay, well, we're waiting for Councilman Troy to get, we're going to just start with, I guess, the roll call?
Here.
Councilperson Paul Valentine.
Here.
Councilperson Jerry Petard. And Supervisor Teresa Kay.
Here. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and of course, we got our regular call from Esther that Councilman Valentine must say it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Thanks, everybody, for coming out on this nasty night. We're just going to do the announcements while waiting for Councilman Troy to get here. We have a public hearing scheduled at a regular town board meeting for November 9th for the proposed zone change for 100 Corporate Drive in Blauvelt, New York. We have a public hearing at the regular town board meeting of November 30th regarding the Dominican College application for a watercourse diversion permit. FEMA's Disaster Recovery Center is still open to Rockland residents. It's over in our Orangetown OMM facility over there. It's open from 8 to 7 every day. So if anyone had damages from Ida, they should get over there sooner rather than later because they will be closing down at some point. We have just some of the election. I know many of you have seen that the early voting is ongoing. So if you have any questions about the times, because they do alternate, you could check out our website. The town of Orangetown is hosting a blood drive on Thursday, October 28th from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Carmel, do you have to sign up for that or can you show up?
They're encouraging people to sign up.
Yeah, okay. It is an extreme shortage, so anybody who can, try and get themselves over here. And then just a comprehensive plan update. We have on our website, we have a place for comments. We have an engagement platform. And we have a survey, which is going to remain open until October 29th. So, for those of you, the comprehensive plan is kind of the town's overall plan for the future of the town when it comes to zoning and planning. And it's long overdue and it's very important. So we encourage as much involvement in the process as possible. So you can check out the website, or you can always call or email us at the town and we'll help you find where you got to go. With that, we have a presentation. This is on the new town hall expansion plans. So if we can get the people from Lothrop Associates up here.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Bob Gabalski. I'm from Lothrop Associates Architects. We were here a number of months ago, and the last time we were here, we talked about the Town Hall addition, which is roughly a 30,000 square foot addition to the existing building. And given the findings from the geotechnical investigation that showed a high water table, it was decided that we would eliminate the basement and, in lieu of the basement, add a third floor to house all of the mechanical equipment. Everything on the first and second floor stayed pretty much the same. A few things got moved around as things were tidied up, but the third floor addition is set back from all four sides of the main two floors of the addition, so that if you're standing anywhere around the building, the third floor, first of all, is much smaller than the basement. It's about 2/3 the size of the basement. And because it's set back from the edge of the first two stories, it recedes out of your view. And so it doesn't appear to be as ominous as a three-story building might otherwise seem. I don't know what else I can say about it other than that. Pretty much everything else has stayed the same. It incorporates all of the town offices into one building, and includes the supervisor's office, the clerk's office, the town attorney's office, and building department. And I think the biggest improvement that this project is going to give you is that everything's in one place, everything's centralized, and there are a number of large meeting rooms that are accommodated here so that multiple functions can happen at one time. So if something were going on in this room, in the other existing town boardroom, you would have two other rooms in the addition, the new town boardroom and the community room in the building department that could also be used all simultaneously. Other than that, I don't know if there's anything else to say. We're all complete. The stormwater protection plan is in place. The traffic study's been done. It's ready to go out to bid, and with your approval, we're ready to do that on your authorization.
So I just have one question. Just, we've been hearing, in the media and in the news and everything about the, backup supply of, getting materials. I know we had something just recently at our parks where we couldn't get it. And is that a concern, or is it something that may result in the cost being much higher than they would have been when we first started the project?
It is a concern, and what we're finding on a number of our projects is that lead time on aluminum doors or steel or sheetrock or light fixtures is a much more protracted lead time. For example, rigid board roof insulation under EPDM roofing is 12 weeks instead of 6 weeks. And the price has gone up, depending on the trade you're talking about, anywhere from 20 to 30 or 32% for material price increases. Now, we've all heard the horror story of plywood was 32, went up to 100, and it's back down to, depending on where you go, 78 or $80 a sheet, but it's still elevated. But we're hoping for a real competitive bidding environment because people are understandably, coming out of the pandemic and going to be hungry for a project like this. So we're looking for spirited, competitive bidding environment.
Okay, anybody?
Now, I think we should just clarify that the old town hall is being removed. It's not an additional 30,000 square feet. That building is going down, and the new building is replacing it and bringing all of the other town functions into this one building.
That's right. As part of this project, not this aspect of the project, but the whole project in general, the original town hall will come down. But in order to facilitate this construction, you need to stay in the basement. You need to stay in your quarters over there until that's built. Right. And then when that's built, everybody moves into their new quarters, and then that can come down as a separate project. So it's been very carefully coordinated so that everyone who's in the original town hall and in this building, all life safety concerns have been addressed so that you can occupy this building during and throughout construction.
From my perspective, I've been here for 22 years, and the town hall was a mess 22 years ago with mold, different heating problems, drainage problems, the windows, environmental concerns. So it's taken 22 years, but glad to see it finally going to happen.
No more questions?
No, I'm good.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for coming out on this rainy night to, Does he need it? Otherwise, it'd be nice to leave somewhere, no?
In the lobby.
Yeah,
Nice.
if you don't need it, yeah.
Should I leave them set up in the lobby?
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be great.
thank you.
And I'll put a resolution on for next time for just to authorize putting it out to bid.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you. Okay, so we're going to go into our workshop of our agenda items. The first item is open a public hearing on, which is tonight, for the amending the chapter. This is regarding the new state stretch energy code. So we're going to open, that's going to be the public hearing, one of the public hearings that we have this evening, which takes us through to number 6. The public hearing regarding the Blauvelt Fire Protection District. Number 7, again, is the Blauvelt Volunteer Fire Company. Number 8 is, again, for the Blauvelt, the libraries. Public hearings. Number 9 is the Orangetown Library District, again, with the libraries. Number 10 is to open the public hearing. A lot of public hearings tonight. Hopefully we'll be quick. And then we have number 11 is to continue public hearing on the preliminary budget to November 9th. Jeff and Rob, are we going to need, I know you had a meeting today. Is there any, well, I guess when we get to the budget, does that impact the budget at all from what Yes, okay, never mind, we'll get when we get there. Number 12, authorize the agreement with Landscape Structures. This is for the all-inclusive playground at Veterans Park, which we're very excited about. It's been a long time coming. Number 13 is appointing Denise Lanahan to the Planning Board. This is to fill out the term of a retiring member, Bill Young, so it'd be through December 31st, 2026. Number 14, accept but regret the retirement of Karen Johns. She's been here, I think, 36 years. Number 15, approve lend assistance to the Boy Scouts of America regarding a district trunk or treat event. Number 16, award a contract to All County Asphalt for the milling and paving on Henry Street in Pearl River. Number 17, approve lend assistance to the Chamber of Commerce Halloween Dance Party Trunk or Treat on October 29th. 18 is authorize an intermunicipal agreement with Rockland County regarding the reimbursement of expenses for the Criminal Justice Discovery Act. Number 19, appoint Kenneth Gordon as a parking enforcement aide, part-time, probationary. Number 20, appoint James Bach to the position of Animal Control Officer. 21, approve lend assistance to the Rockland GAA regarding the Ashling Center 25th Annual Run Walk on Saturday, October 30th. Number 22, award the purchase of a bid for the purchase of one 2021 Chevrolet 2500 HT work truck. And then we have a bunch of accept, receive, and file documents from the town clerk's office. So it's pretty straightforward. Okay. Should we do those first? Okay, we can do that. We can open the public hearings so that we can, so can I get a motion to open the first public hearing regarding the adapting Chapter 5 for the adoption of the New York Stretch Energy Code?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, Paul Valentine, Tom Divany, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and no one signed up to sign on this public hearing, but if there's anybody who would like to speak, you're more than welcome for the public, on that matter, right. So we're basically going to go through our public hearings. You can speak on the public hearing, then we're done, we'll open up the regular public portion, so, okay, so nobody wants to speak, can I get a motion to close?
Motion closed.
Okay, Tom Divany, close, second. Dennis Troy, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Anybody want to ask Jane any questions about this? No? Okay. Sorry, Jane, nobody cares what you have to say. Only kidding. Okay, so anyway, number 5, we're moving on to adopting the local laws in regards to the New York State Stretch Energy Code of 2020. To fill in anything? Nope. So, okay. Can I get a motion? Dennis Troy moves to accept.
Second.
Tom Divany, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that was good. Okay, next public hearing is regarding the one-year contract with the Blauvelt Fire Protection District contract. Again, can I get a motion to open?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Tom Divany, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, again, nobody has signed up to speak for this matter. It's the Blauvelt Fire Protection District. Going once, going twice. Okay, Dennis Troy moved to close. Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Number 7.
Yeah, number 7, okay. Was not the open pub. Okay. So the next one we have is to open the public hearing on the Blauvelt Volunteer Fire Company. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a
No,
motion.
let me just close that. Next one, open on the library, we're on to the libraries. One-year contract for the Orangetown Library District, contract with the Blauvelt Free Library, Orangeburg Library, and the Palisades Free Library, and the Tappan Free Library. Motion? Tom Divany moved, second.
I'll second.
Paul Valentine, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Once again, no one signed up? Anybody want to speak? No? Okay, Tom Divany moved to close. Dennis Troy, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, open the public hearing for the preliminary budget. Okay, Tom Divany moved. Second. Dennis Troy, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Is there anybody that wants to speak
On the preliminary budget.
on the preliminary budget? Tom Divany, motion to close. Second.
I'll second.
Paul Valentine, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so now we can go back and open up the public portion. Okay, can I get a motion to open the public portion?
Move.
Tom Divany, second. Dennis Troy, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to remind everybody that we have 3 minutes. Do we have a clock? Okay. Okay. So 3 minutes. When you come up, if you just wouldn't mind just saying, you know, where in the town you live. I don't need your exact address, but basically the area that you live. So the first person that signed up is Sean O'Sullivan.
Hello, my name's Sean O'Sullivan. I live in Pearl River, and my family and my neighbors like going to the Van Houten Farm. We like shopping there, and we like to have a cider or two there. We like to sit on the benches. They do a very nice job. It's a beautiful place. We really like it. All our neighbors love it, and they do a real nice job, and we'd like to see the town and Van Houten Farms somehow come to an agreement where they could stay doing what they're doing, and we really hope that some resolution comes with that company, and that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. Darren Van Houten?
Good evening. In 1812, my fifth great-grandfather purchased the land where Van Houten Farms currently is, and Van Houtens have been farming on that land ever since then. In 1946, after coming home from World War II, my grandfather started Van Houten Farms as a dairy farm. It was known then as Van Houten's Dairy. After about 10 years, the farm evolved from dairy into produce, and shortly after that, the farm store was added. Eventually, the farm evolved into more of a garden center and a plant nursery. The cidery is part of the next evolution of Van Houten Farms. Small family farms must evolve in order to survive. Every year, hundreds of family farms go out of business in New York State. A major cause of this closing is the failure to evolve, either because the family refused to or their town made it too difficult for it to happen. As of 5 years ago, due largely to the failure to evolve, Van Houten Farms had declined to the point where it was no longer economically sustainable and was headed towards going out of business, probably eventually to be sold for development. The changes in new life we've brought to the farm since then, the greatest of which being the cidery, has resulted in a resurgence and increased activity that the farm hasn't seen since the 1960s. We are a farm cidery. We make cider from apples grown right in Rockland County. Our cider is absolutely an agricultural product. Rockland Cider Works is a vital part of the future of Van Houten Farms. Let's make this happen. Let's sit down and work together and move forward with the steps needed to allow us to continue to operate and be profitable. Not only will this help guarantee the farm stay a viable member of the community, as it has been for hundreds of years, but also protect the history and some of the last remnants of the area's agricultural heritage. Thank you for hearing me, and we look forward to working together with the town. Thank you.
Thank you. Elizabeth Van Houten? Elizabeth Van Houten.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Van Houten. I was raised in a small town on a dairy farm in the Catskill Mountains. Compared to where I grew up, living here in Orangetown is like living in a city to me. Thankfully, I live and work in what I call an oasis. The location of our farm, cidery, and stables give us the feeling of being in the country while having the amenities a suburban area offers. What Van Houten Farms offers our area is something unique, something people seek when choosing where to live or relocate or where to spend their free time or their money. What our farm offers is a place for us to be a community. If you visited or used the farm during the pandemic, you know firsthand how important our business was and is to our community. We want our community and neighbors to want to stay in Orangetown and in Rockland County. Van Houten Farms and Rockland Cider Works wants the opportunity to stay profitable and serve our community and continue to be the threads that strengthen the fabric of this history of Orangetown. We appreciate the board taking the time to review our petition and considering our application. Thank you for your time and for listening to us. We look forward to working together.
Thank you. James Higgins.
Hi, my name, excuse me. Hi, my name is James Higgins. I manage Dr. Davies Farm in Congress, New York. I'm also the New York State Rockland County representative for the Farm Bureau. I'm here to speak to you about agricultural issues and the dying industry that we currently face. 50 years ago, there were hundreds of farms in Rockland counties. Unfortunately, I only know this because my family tells me stories of how it used to be. Now there's a handful. We rely on each other deeply. We don't compete with each other. We should laugh with each other, we cry with each other, and we struggle with each other. The Van Houten struggle is also our struggle. I'm here to talk to you about how in 2018, when Davies Farm was trying to figure out how to pay its employees for the winter, Darren and Elizabeth approached us about pressing cider for their new venture. And it saved us, and it gave us the ability to not only pay our current employees, but expand and hire new local residents and bring more back into the community from our farm. The Van Houtens go further than just Pearl River. It goes through all of Rockland County. They help all the farms, they help all of us keep alive, our families and our employees' families. There has also been a huge insurgence of agritourism. This seems like something small, but it's huge for us. It brings people in out of the county, new fresh money. It brings them to them. They tell people to come to us. People come to us, we tell them to go to them. We would love to see this keep growing, and we'd love to work with everybody in both towns all throughout the county of making agritourism a primary goal and allowing both farms to grow. I'm here to just ask you to consider, before you put that final nail in the agricultural tourism coffin for Rockland County, what your decision does, not just for them and your town, but every town throughout Rockland County. Thank you.
Jeff Nevin. Okay. Dom Ponsadis? Ponsadis? No? Okay. Rob Rangone?
Everybody before me actually communicated everything very well, but I just wanted to also add, it's a very big part of the community of Van Houten. I've lived in Rockland since the 80s, and have been going there. You go there with your family, with your friends. They're an economic engine for the area. They not only sell their own products, but they bring many other businesses from this county and from upstate New York. I spend at least 1 or 2 days a week getting my produce, my plants, and my cider, and I'm amazed how calm, how well-behaved everyone is there. It's not a party place. There's lots of families, there's lots of children. It's an amazing place, and I think everyone should stop by there if they haven't already. Check it out. I know the Van Houtens now for many years. I'm sure they will work with whoever they need to, neighbors, the town, to come to accommodations and make the place work for everybody. You know, they've been there a long time, so thanks.
Kevin McCormick?
Good evening, Kevin McCormack. First of all, a shout out to Dennis Troy to thank you for all your years of service on the town board and in our community. We do really appreciate your efforts. My wife and I live about 500 feet from Van Houtens. We and our neighbors are some of the paltry few that have been impacted by the noise and safety issues from the Van Houten Farms and Rockland Cider Works for several years. We and many of our disgruntled neighbors have spoken at town board meetings and written letters and emails about the cidery and its impacts to our quality of life and the safety of our residential neighborhood. Elizabeth, Darren, and Jim Van Houten could have had the courtesy and respect for their neighbors and reached out to meet with us to discuss our concerns. Maybe we could have worked something out and worked together to find a solution. They chose not to. Instead, even after some neighbors like myself reached out to express our very valid concerns, the Van Houtens have chosen to publicly insult us, dismiss us, and act like we want to put them out of business. They act as though the town board and the building department have wronged them by asking that they abide by the zoning board, the zoning laws, and the building codes that every other resident and every other business in this town must follow to protect the people and the safety of Orangetown. The town board, the planning board, and the building department must consider the quality of life of the neighbors and the integrity of the neighborhood before allowing inappropriate businesses and activities in residential areas. This is not about business as much as it is about common sense. The fact is, a cidery that sells and serves alcohol in a residential neighborhood brings traffic, loud bands, intoxicated people, and creates parking issues is frankly not suitable for an area that has houses close by, is on the curve of a busy two-lane road. Using greenhouses as a bar is not safe. This reminds me of when Jim Van Houten wanted to erect a cell phone tower on the same property several years ago. Again, a totally inappropriate structure in a residential neighborhood. None of the neighbors want Van Houtens to close as a business. We have always been very happy with Van Houtens as a nursery and a garden center, and we want them to be successful. The business should stay that way. I just asked the town board, as well as those who speak in support of the cidery, to consider how you would feel about intoxicated people urinating in your yard, bands playing until 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock at night, every night of the week or many nights of the week, noise from equipment from the manufacturing at the cidery till all hours of the night, trucks beeping, okay? When we used to just have a farm stand and a nursery. There are many other places in this town to put a business such as this that would be much more appropriate, suitable, and logical. Thank you very much for your time and for listening.
Thank you. Carol Kobe?
Carol Kobetich, but nobody can pronounce it.
Sorry.
That's why I wrote Kobe. I wanted to say thank you for allowing us this time today. My name is Carol. I'm General Manager at Van Houten Farms. I was brought on board to help get the farm back on track when Darren and Elizabeth took over after the previous management had mismanaged so badly we almost had to close the doors, as you have heard. We were so seriously in the red. In order for us or any farm to survive, we have to be able to evolve and develop the next line of agricultural items. While we appreciate the support and we love our customers, buying a pound of tomatoes or our famous corn in season is no longer sustainable. We must be able to grow. This has been a very stressful time, having my livelihood threatened with the gross exaggerations and mistruths that have been spewed here over the last few months. With all that has been said, anyone not familiar with us would think it was a wild place full of drunken debauchery when nothing could be further from the truth. It has been an absolute haven for so many during COVID with the open air and spacing, and we have followed strict COVID guidelines to keep everyone safe, which was very much appreciated by the community. It is a family destination that is currently missed by hundreds in the community. There's not a day passes without somebody asking when the music is returning. So as far as the music is concerned, we have worked very hard to accommodate on that. We moved the actual stage 3 times. We put up sound baffles. We put up sound barriers with racks of straw. We went to acoustic only, and we went to only from 3 to 6, 2 days a week. We also put up decibel readers so that the bands and we could monitor the sound. Even with all of this in place, our neighbours still called the police almost every weekend, which was an egregious waste of officers' time as no laws were being broken. I am just thankful that no one in the community had an emergency during those times. All of the officers told us that there was nothing they could do. They had to come because the neighbour had called. One new officer, who was being harassed to write us up even though he kept telling them no laws were being broken, called out his sergeant because of the insistence. I offered to show the sergeant around while Darren was trying to talk with our neighbours. When we walked onto the property, the band was actually on a break and it was just people talking. I pointed to the decibel reader on the fence and the officer said, "Wait a minute," and he pulled out his own decibel reader and he looked. It said 75 decibels and his said the same. He said, hold on a sec, he said, "I don't need to see any more." He said, "The reason I was called out was because it was 73 decibels when the band was playing." So the noise complaint was for less than the sound of customers talking. So the police time was again wasted on that occasion for the sound of people talking. As I said, there's been so many exaggerations and mistruths. This is just one example. I just wanted you to hear it. I thank you for your time. I thank everybody that came out in support of us tonight. Thank you so much, and I wish you all well. Thank you.
Elizabeth Benjamin. Elizabeth Benjamin? No? No? Oh, okay, sorry. Fred Zabrat, or Zabrat.
Fred, you have to
You want to come up to the mic?
so people can hear you on the...
My family and I are living here, happily living here in Orangetown since 1974. Our 3 children went through all the South Orangetown school systems, and we've been also happily attending and spending time at Van Houten's farm since then. To me, it's a happy place, especially in recent years when people were looking for something to do. Van Houten's was there. When music was playing on a Saturday or a Sunday, whenever it may have been, I can't tell you exactly when, and I saw 3 generations of family members sitting and talking, they all had one thing in common, a big smile on their face. Van Houten's is a happy place, and I live on Blauville Road, not far. It's an easy walk. And I would like to see it stay, and many, many people who I know for all these many years feel the same way I do. Thank you.
Jacob Greenberg.
Hello, and thank you for letting me speak with you today. My name is Jacob Greenberg, and I've been working at Rockland Cider Works since late June. When I graduated college in May, I knew that I wanted to work in the cider industry. My goal in life is to start my own cidery one day, and I knew that I needed to learn the ins and outs of the industry before going off and doing it myself. That's where Rockland Cider Works came in. Darren and Elizabeth Van Houten hired me and have been training me on all aspects of the business. I'm learning how to make cider, how to sell it, how to run a business. They've truly taken me under their wing and showing me how to succeed in this industry. They've taught me about the importance of building a community around a business And I think that I speak for most people here when I say that's what RCW has done with Van Houten Farms. We are here for the community. We want to bring in more money for all the businesses in this community. I brought with me a map today. This map tells me where people are looking for us from, where they're requesting to come to us from. Now, it's hard to see, but the majority of this map shows from New York City and from other areas of Jersey. We're bringing in people to this community. We're bringing in people to spend money here. We're bringing in people who want to come to Rockland and spend their time and their free time here. When you walk up to the bar or to the farm stand, you're greeted by some of the nicest people I've ever met. They make you want to sit down and stay a while. They make you want to learn about cider. They make you want to spend time and money in Rockland. RCW brings in people from all walks of life and allows them to have a relaxing time while sipping on cider made right in Rockland in a beautiful environment. It is a very unique, family-friendly venue unlike anything else in the area. We are the only cidery in Rockland, which makes us the only place in the area where people can learn about the age-old craft. I have a pleasure of speaking with a lot of our customers, and I get to see their faces light up when I tell them about all the different options we have for them. We get calls every day asking if we have food vendors or live music, and it pains me to tell them that we aren't allowed to right now. We want to bring back local food vendors and local musicians, not just for the monetary gain, but for the community. Orangetown needs more places where people can listen to local musicians, eat local food, buy farm fresh produce along with other goods, and drink local craft beverages. RCW is that place. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. John Shaw? John Shaw?
John Shaw, Pearl River. So I'm trying not to repeat anything anybody else has said, but what Van Houten Farms is, we go there with maybe 10, 12, 14 people, generations of people. And in today's day and age of quarantines and mask mandates, where else can you go with 10, 12 people, sit around a little fire, or whatever you call that fire, out in the fresh air. And, I get that, it could be loud. I live across from the high school. And three of you anyway have gotten my text at 3, 4 in the morning about dumping snow in an illegal parking lot by ShopRite. It happens, They're announcing the football game. They're playing the music across from the high school. The lights on at night. It happens. But this is the only place in Rockland where you can go and sit there. You can actually bring babies there and dogs, So give it a chance. That's all I say. Give it a chance. It's the only place that we have like this.
Sharon Van Houten? I think she's out in the hallway. Sharon Van Houten? I think, okay.
Good evening. Thank you for letting me speak. A few days ago, someone posted on Facebook asking for a call to action and to come to Tuesday night's board meeting to show support for Van Houten Farm Nursery, which was being threatened with being shut down. That couldn't be farther from the truth. The Van Houtens have consistently worked to falsely merge the long-standing Van Houten Farm stand with Rockland Cider Works. Van Houten Farms has been here for several decades. Rockland Cider Works, owned by Darren and Elizabeth Van Houten, was opened in August of 2019. No one is seeking to close Van Houten Farms. The fact that Rockland Cider Works' most recent attempt to get community members to turn out with the largest crowd possible in defense of something that is not even happening goes to show the true characters of the owners of Van Houten Farms and Rockland Cider Works, and that they hide behind the shield of Van Houten Farms to protect them. The farm and Rockland Cider Works are manipulating its own patrons to think the farm is in jeopardy, and they use this approach because they are so desperate at this point to keep Rockland Cider Works that they're spreading false information. Van Houten Farms operates, as well as the farm stand, a very successful green market operation in New York City, and rents half of its property to a riding stable, generating substantial additional income. Rockland Cider Works was started because Darren and Elizabeth thought it would be fun to open a cidery. They did not start a cidery to save the farm, as stated in an interview Darren had with Hudson Valley Magazine. Rockland Cider Works and Van Houten Farms are two separate businesses. Van Houten Farms and Rockland Cider Works must stop grouping the issues of Rockland Cider Works with the nursery and perpetuating false, misleading, and incorrect information to gain sympathy. It's morally wrong. Thank you.
Thank you. Susan McWhinney. Susan McWhinney.
Good evening, and thank you, Board. In fact, it's not the Board that I've come here to address this evening. It's the people sitting behind me, those people who've come out in response to a letter that they were sent by the Van Houtens this past week. I would like to address some of the issues in that letter, in particular one issue, and I would like to go through a rough timeline of interactions between the Van Houtens and the Orangetown Board. In the letter, Elizabeth Van Houten stated, quote, "For the last year, we have been providing the town of Orangeburg with every application and piece of information they have requested from us to resolve any issues with permitting and zoning concerning our business, which has operated on the site as an agricultural operation and nursery since the 1940s. In fact, the town has not requested any documents relating to the agricultural operations or the nursery, otherwise known as Van Houten Farms. This situation is about Rockland Cider Works and Rockland Cider Works only. In fact, the Van Houtens have not done nothing at all. The town has repeatedly attempted to assist the Van Houtens for over a year now, close to 2 years. What follows is a partial timeline of relevant communications and events. In September of 2019, the Van Houtens opened Rockland Cider Works. In September of 2020, a number of interactions happened. One was that I contacted the supervisor and building department's Jane Slavin and notified them that a cidery had begun operating next door to us. The town had not been aware of this presence. Notice to James Van Houten from the building department regarding the cidery being run from the premises with no permits and no C of O was sent to him. In September, Christian Catana, a building inspector, offered to work around the property with the Van Houtens in order to discuss these issues. In October, based on this issue, the town issued charges against the Van Houtens and RCW. Building inspector visited also on the 2nd of October and on the 10th. On the 16th, Jane Slavin sent a letter notifying the Van Houtens that they needed to come into compliance or there would be additional violations. And on the 16th of that month, 2020, a court information was issued. In 2021, there were multiple interactions between Jane Slavin, the Van Houten's lawyers, and the town. The town continually offered to meet with the Van Houtens to discuss how to get their building permits through, to discuss ways that they could legalize their business. And the Van Houtens repeatedly did nothing about this. Eventually, a stop work order was posted on the Van Houten's manufacturing door. Approximately 2 hours later, that stop notice sign was pulled down and the electricians continued. This has been a continuing phenomenon where the Van Houtens have refused to follow any of the town laws or guidelines and simply cry that they have not been able to maintain their business. As neighbors, we request the town do what it does best, enact and enforce laws to protect homeowners in Orangetown. Thank you.
Thank you. Jerry Goggins.
Good evening. Do we have a timer? Yes. Where is it? Oh, you're okay. I like to be able to see it, but okay. Okay. Good evening, board. How are you? What we have here is what appears to be a clear pattern of deception and misrepresentation. The Van Houtens misrepresented the truth on their liquor license application. That's when it started. They did not tell the town when they started doing business, as Susan McWhinney just recounted. 2 years ago, they applied for a building permit for a large wooden shed in their building that's situated in the same place. They have a smaller shed that serves cider and whatever else they sell today. When the permit was denied because they had to go, they were told, they had to go in front of the planning and zoning boards, they withdrew the permit. And I think they did that because they didn't want to go in front of the planning or zoning boards because they knew what would happen. They failed to report violations issued to them. The first was issued to them in October after the town had basically put up with this for a year. The town has bent over backwards to accommodate them, quite frankly. And I'm astonished to see that the town is getting criticized in this letter. So they were first issued with violations in October 2020. They stalled for several months at court. The town finally lost their patience and said, we're going to trial. And they pled guilty and they were fined $5,000. They've done nothing to remedy the cause of those violations in the ensuing year. They were issued with additional violations this year on August 15th and August 20th. At least that's when it went to the court. The town has given them almost a year to address the issues involved in their illegal operation, but they've done nothing. The stop work order that was put up was removed and work continued. And they're now trying to manipulate a lot of people here into supporting all these illegal actions by misrepresenting the connection between the two businesses, Van Houten Farms LLC and Rockland Cider Works LLC. They want you to think these two are the same business, but they're not. And they want you to think that anybody who objects to RCW, which I do, objects to Van Houten Farms, which nobody does. We all want Van Houten Farms to prosper. Van Houten Farms does not need Rockland Cider Works to survive. And by the way, Rockland Cider Works pays rent to Jim Van Houten. He does not receive any profits per their liquor license application from the operation of Rockland Cider Works. So what we have here is a pattern of continual misrepresentation, evasion, and contempt for the laws and regulations of this town. Now, I understand that people have a good time. I don't have a problem with that. I don't dispute that they have a good time, but I really have a problem with telling me, well, you didn't see that and it didn't happen. Because we've reported to the police of this town repeatedly the violations that have occurred, and anybody that wants to can foil the police reports. I'm sorry all of you got dragged here tonight. This is not exactly what you think it is. You're being presented with a highly manicured and curated version of the facts, half the facts. And you don't know everything that's going on here, and it would be great if you could familiarize yourself.
Allison, was that 3 minutes? Okay. If
All
you
right.
just want to finish your sentence, that's fine, but
Yeah, I just want to say this is inappropriate. In fact, since Dr. Davies' farm spoke up for Rockland Cider Works, it strikes me that that would be a fantastic location for Rockland Cider Works. It's agricultural, it's commercial, it's out in the middle of nowhere, essentially. What an appropriate place for them to run their business. And I wish them every success in running their business, but not in the middle of an R40 residential zone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Reynolds? I just said Mr. Reynolds. Mr. Reynolds? Oh.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, I live right across the street from the farm, so I'm impacted with the noise and everything else that occurs over there. And these people that are here tonight, I don't think they live in that vicinity, so they're not directly affected. So a considerable number of the Orangetown residents and the majority of the immediate neighbors do not wish to see an illegal outdoor cidery located within a residential neighborhood. These residents and neighbors do not wish to have live music, food trucks, and large crowds on premises where alcohol is being served in the middle of their neighborhood. We are normal people, much like yourselves. We are small business owners or hold jobs, sometimes more than one. We have friends and families that we enjoy and like to spend time with. We have hobbies and activities that we participate in. We have homes that we love and enjoy spending time in. Like you, some of us like to listen to music, sometimes having a drink or two. We like being able to decide when we participate in those activities and when we don't. Like you, as homeowners, we rightfully expect our town government to enact and enforce laws that protect our right to peacefully exist in our homes, to keep us safe, and to maintain the value of our homes. It's reasonable to assume that most of you would be unhappy were you to wake up one morning and find an illegal business such as an body shop, a sandblasting company, or a bar that has opened right next door to you. Undoubtedly, each of these businesses would have supporters as they provide services that some people use and enjoy. If this happened to you, you might believe that zoning laws have been enacted to protect you from such incursions into the residential neighborhood. We would wholeheartedly agree with you. This is a situation we are faced with, an illegally operating bar in the middle of a quiet residential R40 neighborhood, an illegally operating business that has been adversely impacting our lives for several years. We wish Rockland Cider Works every success after they move to a more appropriate zone commercial location. This business does not belong in our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all that I have signed up. So is there anybody who'd like to speak? Come on, you can, oh, okay. You'll be next. Just if you wouldn't mind saying your name for the record.
Good evening, Councilman Troy, Supervisor Kenny, Councilman Divney, and Councilman Valentine. My name is Michael O'Shea. I'm a 35-year law enforcement veteran. I've lived in the town near the cider works for 20 years. These untruths that are being told tonight are absurd. I have observed in 2 years 2 police cruisers at the cider works. I have never observed a fight. I go almost every weekend with my wife and son and my relatives. So for this narrative to be talked about with urinating in yards, I don't see it. It's a peaceful family place. It's been a breath of fresh air during COVID. And for these folks to say this, yes, these records are foilable, they're non-existent, and this is just not, it's not something that, like I said, I pass there on a regular basis, I spend weekends there, and for people to say this, whatever Mr. Reynolds said, I live by him. When he starts his trucks at 4 in the morning, the diesel trucks, and wakes me up, I don't say anything. So he disrupts the neighborhood with a commercial produce business. That's okay, but the farm can't open at 9. So this clear pattern of misrepresentation is just it's not nice and it's not true. With that said, I hope that this board looks at the whole picture and the folks who are paying taxes and our fine police department that keeps this area in check. Regarding traffic, that's been a busy road before the cider works went in. We don't have fatal accidents. We've never had a person run over. So to trump this doom and gloom up, the sky is falling, it's not, or I wouldn't live there. I can live anywhere I want. I chose to live and stay here because it's safe, because the board is receptive. We have the safest community in Rockland. So I want to say thank you, Councilman Troy, Supervisor Kenny, Councilman Divney, and another Marine, Councilman Valentine. So Semper Fi, and please weed the fact from fiction out. Thank you.
Because I have a lot to say. My name's Barbara Dello. I'm from Blauvelt. I want to start by saying I know Karen, who's retiring from the Highway Department, and she's a wonderful person and extremely well thought of by all who work with her. So I wanted to thank you, Karen James. Secondly, I was sad a couple town board meetings ago, after the big storm we heard, where there was unusually a lot of flooding, including affecting 2 of my children across the town, that it was blamed on James Dean and the Highway Department. They do a good job. I know they work hard, and I really think it's disingenuous to blame them for widespread flooding. Third, I wanted to just say a bit about economic priorities in the town. We spend a lot of money on rec and on making a lot of good quality life for young people, but we spend very little consideration for a homebound elderly. And I know I've talked about this before, and I mentioned a very simple thing, which I know is a good idea because I was a home care nurse for many years, that for senior citizens, it's very confusing, particularly if you're homebound, you're sick, you can't see too well, you have trouble getting up and moving around, to access the varied services that are available in the county and in private agencies like Meals on Wheels. And I asked the town if they would make a booklet with big enough print, easy to read, where all information would be in one spot. You wouldn't have to battle with the computer. You wouldn't have to worry if it's charged. You wouldn't have to get on phone and press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to try and figure out where you're going and then get an answering machine. I know, and it would really make it very much easier for the frail to access help. So I was looking through old town board meetings at the priorities, the economic priorities, and taking aside necessary things like trucks and road repairs. I found that October 26th agenda, we had lend assistance to the Boy Scouts, to the Gaelic Association Walk, to the Chamber of Commerce Halloween Dance. We had library, is it $2 million? For all the libraries. I had playground, 700,000, which I guess 500,000 approximately is from a grant. Then I looked at September 28th, and I saw approved lend assistance for 9th Noble Traubenfest, and a new position created for Parks and Recreation for 39,000 plus, of course, I assume there's benefits and stuff. And it said create a position, so I assume it's not an existing position. On October 12th.
Barbara, the clock ran, so if you
did
just
it
want,
ring?
yeah, so if you just want to, yeah. if you
Oh,
just wanna
30
finish
seconds,
up there.
okay. Anyway, I can continue because this happens at every meeting. And there's always money for these things that involve paying police, sometimes paying police overtime, using town equipment. And I don't understand how a simple mailing with group rates that would help a lot of seniors access services that the town would not be paying for is really too much to ask. Plus, it really makes me look at the town's priorities and say we don't care about our elderly citizens, the homebound ones, not the ones who can go to the
Okay.
senior citizens.
Thank you, thank you,
Okay?
Barbara. Yes, thank you.
Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you. The woman with the hand up in the back there?
Hi, my name is Jamie Failing. I spoke at a previous board meeting in support of Rockland Cider Works, so I don't want to go over all the same points. I just want to say that I am not here because, and I don't think many of the others are here because they were manipulated or misunderstood. I think we are very clear that it's two separate businesses. We all just really enjoy Rockland Cider Works and think it's a great place. I'm a direct neighbor. I live right nearby. I think that these points are being grossly exaggerated against them. I mean, they definitely are. I'm here in this disgusting rainstorm because I really, really, really don't like the fact when the voice of a few is going to affect the outcome for many. I feel that just because the really, really insistent squeaky wheel shouldn't always be the one getting the oil. I mean, I feel like it should be the majority rules, and I think it's pretty clear that the majority of people do like and want Rockland Cider Works as part of the community. I feel that, you know what, maybe just enforce some rules to them, time limits, noise limits, whatever, but let them do their thing, let them have their business, because everyone seems to support it. On another note, I would like to say I support the pamphlet for seniors. And on my last point, I would like to say that I support James Dean, the way he's run his crew for years and years. I think he does an excellent job. I think he saves the town money. I think he runs his business, his budget exceptionally. And I'm very happy with the leave pickup in the past. So I just want to say for the record, I'm in full support of his decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Right here. Oh, got a bunch of hands.
Good evening. Thanks for the opportunity to say a few words in support of Van Houten. I thought it'd be interesting
Can we just get your name for the record?
Sorry, Robert Sant. Thought it'd be interesting to give you my perspective, given that I am a New Jersey resident, and how my family and myself have benefited from Van Houten and their evolution. So I am a band member who has played and performed at Van Houten, and when I first started to visit Van Houten several years ago, my wife and I would buy produce there. We benefited from it during COVID when some other ShopRites and grocery stores near us didn't have things available. So we visited Van Houten, benefited from it. They also hired several family members of mine over the years. So, you know, having grown up in New Jersey and visited some of the farms that have now closed, like the ones in Montvale, Van Houten is a place and an oasis for us and my family and my children to go to. And I can tell you that from my experience, having dealt with Darren and Elizabeth as a band member, they're very conscious of being on top of the volume and their operations. And I applaud them for their evolution with opening Rockland Cider Works and opening a place that a lot of people have really enjoyed over the years. So thank you very much.
No, wait, he's a...
Hi, Tom O'Reilly from Pearl River. Thanks for serving, you guys. I've been going to Van Houten since 1957. 65 years. My parents used to bring me and my brothers, down there for our vegetables and stuff and flowers. And Jimmy Van Houten went to high school with my older brother Danny, so I'm a local guy, and I just love Van Houtens. And I hadn't planned on speaking, but just a couple of quick thoughts. In 1967, when the reservoir was built, Lake Tapan, at the Hackensack River, which we grew up on, we had 4 swimming holes. Neil's Place, 40-foot, 10-foot, Silver Rocks. That was the country. And I live in Pearl River still since 1957. And to me, whenever I go down to Van Houten's, I just take a drive down there. I feel like I'm getting out of town, out of the city, out of Pearl River. I'm going down to the country for an hour or two, just to hang out down at the reservoir, talk to the fishermen and stuff. Anyway, so Elizabeth said, city versus country. That's the last remnant. Van Houten is the heart of Pearl River, in my opinion. It's so critical, and there's a little convoluted problem here with the different businesses. I understand the ramifications, okay? But I'm on the board of the Orangetown Historical Society, the Rockland County Historical Society. I just love history. And the history of Van Houten's is just, and their present history to me is unblemished. And I like what you said, officer. My dad was a cop too. And I'd like to talk to you real quick after, because I've gone to a lot of the Sunday afternoon concerts when they started 2 years ago, and I thought, this is wonderful. Outdoors, fresh air. And I can understand a neighbor's complaints. Your house is your largest investment of your life. They get the benefits of living by a beautiful lake with all sorts of wildlife on it. I saw 16 eagles down there 2 months ago with all the guys. Anyway, and the benefits of living next to a farm. So, I mean, and now to complain that they go to 9 o'clock at night. This is not like a 4 o'clock bar in Pearl River, which we have 20 of, which the cops have to respond to all the time with problems. I go to Van Houten's for all these concerts. I've never seen a problem there. And when they first started 2 summers ago, I talked to Jimmy and Elizabeth and Darren. I said, safety first. I'm worried about the curve right here. Immediately the next week, they put up signs all around that curve and had a guy out there watching to slow cars down. They have a huge parking lot, so danger is not an issue. Anyway, So when Carol mentioned the music, it's a happy place. And I feel bad for the neighbors. I can understand their concerns, financial concerns. And Rockland Cider Works, I've been going there for 65 years to get all of our family vegetables and flowers. These guys are my family. They're fun. They're fun. I just like going down there just to hang out and say hello, you know? So I feel bad about the conflict here. But as a personal testament, like I say, those Sunday afternoon concerts, I went down for a couple hours, 6 or 7 times, never saw any problems. So I think some of these things are being over-exaggerated, you know, urination on the lawns and all this. It could be a heck of a lot worse.
Time's up.
Thank you very much.
Somebody over here. Somebody over here. There we go.
Good evening. My name is Maureen O'Neill. I'm 51 years old. I've lived in Rockland County my entire life. I grew up in Clarkstown, and I've been an Orangetown resident for 24 years. I have a picture of me, I think at 4 years old, in the cauldron at Van Houten's farm, which I believe it's still the same one. I've enjoyed every aspect of Van Houten's farm, and I was brought here on my own accord. I don't feel dragged down here in any way, shape, or form, and I totally hear both sides of the story, and I just hope that Van Houten's and the town can reach some type of an agreement, because I not only think that Van Houten's is an asset to Orangetown, that it's a major improvement to Orangetown. During COVID, I was thrilled to be able to buy fresh produce there. When ShopRite didn't have English muffins, Van Houten's had English muffins. My mother has advanced Alzheimer's, and the other day when I picked her up from seniors, I was like, what can I do? I have her out of the house for an hour. Where can I bring her? I brought her to Van Houten's. She couldn't have been more thrilled. It's an asset to Orangetown. I understand both sides, but I hope that your job as the board is to reach some type of an agreement and to reach a conclusion that is, you know, for the majority of Orangetown, which is who you work for, and not just the small people that have an issue with it. And I'm sure there's a sense of compromise. We're all adults here, and there's got to be some way to make it work for everyone, because it's a major asset to our town and to our community. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Hello. David Algor. I also live in New Jersey. 3 or 4 years ago, probably 3 years ago, somebody told me, hey, there's a farm in Pearl River, and I lived in Rivervale. I could walk to Pearl River from my house, and it's called Van Houten, and they have live music. I said, wow, really? Never heard of Van Houten before. I never went to Van Houten, never knew it was there. My wife and I, like I said, live in Rivervale. We go to dinner. For some reason, we go maybe as far north as Montvale, Ridgewood, Westwood. We go to dinner now in Pearl River at least 2 to 3 times a month, all because of Van Houten starting there. So and I can name 50 people off the top of my head who never knew what Van Houten was there and come there now and buy produce, have a cider. With regard to the music and people saying that there's music till 9 o'clock, I've performed there. I'm not here because I need to go perform there. I'm here because I want to go and listen to music there, because they bring in great talent, great local talent. And I've never played past 6 o'clock. And Elizabeth cracks the whip if you're too loud. She stands there and gives you evil eyes that, you know, make you shudder. And they are all over the bands about how loud they are. Turn it down, turn it down. Sometimes people all the way in the back are saying, hey, we can barely hear you. Well, sorry, those are the rules. So I think some of the things I've heard here tonight, and I wasn't going to speak, but some of the things I've heard specifically about the music just aren't true. So, thank you.
He didn't put his hand up, did he? Did he put his hand up?
How you doing? Ed Drum from J Place in Pearl River, which is Norrishan area, about a quarter mile from the farm. Born and raised there. My family and myself have been going to the farm. My parents moved up here in '62, so I got pictures of me there 50 years ago. It was fantastic back then. I think the cider works has made it even better. Like Mr. O'Shea said, I agree with him. I live right around the corner from the farm. I don't hear any music. I go by there numerous times a day. I'm in there probably once a day at least, probably over the summer, getting vegetables and fruit and all that other stuff. And on the days that they have music and cider, I've never seen any problems. I've never seen anybody urinating, anything like that. I don't think anybody's here pulling the wool over my eyes either. It's a great addition to the community. Times change, and businesses have to change with the times if they want to succeed. I think the people that run it are great people, and I'd like to see it stick around. I think it's good for the community. And that's all I have to say.
Thanks. Mr. Bergman? Oh, what the hell there?
Hi, good evening. Jessica Christie. My husband and I rent in Sparkill. We left Brooklyn in January in order to find a place where we could start our family. When we found Van Houten this summer, we felt like we'd found that new home. The first time we went, the staff took time with us to talk about the vegetables we wanted to plant and give us all that kind of confidence about, we're city people coming back to the suburbs, and gave us an impromptu cider tasting. And its existence, Van Houten and Rockland Cider Works, is a huge part of why we're looking to actually buy a home here in Rockland County. We love having a local family-owned farm where we can buy plants and learn about the local agriculture, so we're not buying things that are just gonna die in our new yard. It's also been a haven and a really safe space to socialize with friends and new neighbors during the pandemic. We were one of the first couples from our group of friends to leave Brooklyn, so as you can imagine, we're on a mission to get everyone else to come out here to Rockland County. And we have friends who visit. We always make time to go to Van Houten and to show them what a great community that Rockland County has for them. And these are people who are also looking to start their families and build their homes out here. Love to have a glass of cider there, buy some great plants. It's a huge draw, and it's a gem of the community, and it'd be an incredible loss if the town and Van Houten aren't able to come to a solution. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bergman? Bob, you were too polite. I didn't see you back there.
Madam Supervisor, it's an honor to stand before you for a moment. I came here as a resident, 35-year resident of North Shore for one reason, but when I listened all this time, I really have to speak out for another, and that's to thank you all for your service. Few people will understand how difficult it is, and in particular, Dennis, your service of 30-plus years between the council and the legislature.
Only 26.
Oh. Off on my math for a change.
Seems like 36.
Ain't democracy tough? I mean, you have all good people here, and you have a wonderful business that has been an asset to this community for over 200 years. And you also have people who want the quiet enjoyment of their homes. I commend to you consideration that there's got to be a middle ground to make all happy. That's been said before. But the main message from me to you is thank you so much for your service and everything you do for this community.
Thanks, Bob.
Trying to soften the blow.
Mr. Bergman was, Bob, how long were you a councilman on the board?
12.
8 years. 8? 8 years. See, he said 12. You guys' math is way off tonight. Thank you for your service, too. Okay, somebody else had their? Brian. Mr. Quinn.
Thank you, Madam Supervisor, members of the board. I didn't sign up to speak tonight. I didn't really expect to speak, and I'm going to be very brief. You've heard a lot of supporters of Van Houten and the Rockland Cidery. I'm a newcomer here in Rockland. I moved to Pearl River 35 years ago. I remember we discovered Van Houten's pretty soon after we moved in there. My wife is a big gardener. We spent a lot of time over there. Unfortunately, that economic model is very difficult to survive these days. You got big box stores selling all kinds of plants, and garden supplies, things like that. We always try to support the little guy. We still go to Van Houten's, but as you probably know, my firm represents the Van Houten's. We are their attorneys. We have submitted a petition to this town board. We've submitted a proposed site plan application. The only thing I ask for tonight is that you consider that and please move forward with the petition. We'd like to get this thing straightened out. We don't like people complaining. We don't like the police being called out for minor matters, things like that. So just please put this down for a hearing or take the next step so that we can move forward and try to straighten this thing out with the town and allow them to continue to operate. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Hi, my name is Ellen Wiedemeyer, and I live in Blauvelt. I've lived there my whole life. I just wanted to say something short and sweet, that I support the Van Houten's and the cidery. It's a breath of fresh air, and they really reinvented Van Houten Farms, I believe. So I really hope that they could stay. Thank you.
Anybody else? That's it. I think we got everybody. Nobody left. Oh, so, it's too, almost. I'm only kidding.
Hi, my name is Jeff Nevin. My wife is Chris Davies. Her family owns Davies Farm. And, I was, I didn't plan on saying anything. I wanted to come and support the Van Houten's. Our families have been doing business together and working together long before me. And, I heard a few things. I heard, the few complaints that I heard was, people mentioning that, it's a separate business and they don't need that money. And I haven't met too many wealthy farmers. I mean, I know on our farm, we're using equipment that's 50, 60 years old, and it's not, I don't think anyone's doing it to, to make a lot of money. And the only wealthy farmers I know are the ones that sold their land and cashed out. And there's not many farmers left in this county. And for the few people that are complaining, I really hope that they see what the option is. I don't think you want them to sell. I mean, it's probably a lot better than what the alternative would be. And they're a small local business trying to survive. And that's how I see it. Thank you.
Okay, one last shot. Anybody who hasn't had a chance to speak? Okay.
Good evening. My name is Mary Putnick. I've been a resident of Pearl River for 33 years. I've come from here from the Bronx, and it's everything I ever came for, to live here with my family in a safe and wonderful environment. I just want to support the cidery. I'm not someone to go hang out in bars or anything, but it's a lovely place to go with your family and your children, have a conversation, sit, relax, be outside. I'm a nurse. It's everything that you'd want to do in this current situation that we're in with COVID, to have a lovely place to be spending time with your family and your friends. So I just support the cidery. I know it's not the same as the farm, but I support them both. I hope you can come to an agreement. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? That's it. I think we got everybody. Going once? Going twice? Okay, can I get a motion to close?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody want to say anything? Okay. You want to go first?
I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. It's a miserable night. We've heard both sides of the coin, and I know there's people against the cidery. I know there's people for the cidery. and I do believe there should be some kind of compromise. And I don't look it, but I've been here for 50 years. I grew up on Gilbert Avenue, which is right around from Van Houten Farms, and like Ed Drum, I grew up there. And I think that, this is not a hearing. This is just people voicing your opinions. I think we should set the hearing in December 14th. We'll set the hearing. And, I think there is room for compromise, regulate hours of operation, hours when you can have music. And, everyone came up here for the same reason, live in Pearl River and Orangetown because it's a great community. And I really think that we need to set the hearing. There's always room for compromise, and the entire board is here to hear both sides. There hasn't been a decision made, but we definitely got to have the hearing so decisions can be made about the future of this property.
So I'm just going to speak for myself, anyone I can speak for. This issue started before I even got on the board, and it's a complicated one. I think we all need to recognize the property is owned R40, and that many of you may live in an R40 or an R20. And how would you feel if suddenly there was a place selling alcohol, having music, having food trucks, having fire pits next door? From the beginning, I know all the Van Houtens, I know both sides. I went, I think early on one day on a Sunday, and they had cider and they had someone playing music, and I enjoyed it. They really are victims of their own success because it was so successful. People were coming from Jersey and everywhere else. And I don't live that far from there. One day my husband came home and he said it was a madhouse. There was cars everywhere. There was people parked everywhere. And the problem for me is that that's why we have our boards. You said something about a dangerous turn, and then they put a sign up. All of those factors go into why we have our zoning code, and that it should have been presented to the town, not just show up one day. I've said from the beginning, I support a version of what's going on over there, a much scaled down version of what's going on over there. But it just kept going on despite violations being posted. And there's this whole theory in the law called clean hands. I said from day one, I will not entertain a petition for a zone change until the illegal activity stops. I don't know if it has stopped, to be honest with you, and I guess we could ask, I know they're in court. So I've always said I'm welcome to the petition. The petition that was filed, I think, was ridiculous. It has festivals and food trucks and fire pits, and it sounds like it was too much, asking for too much. So certainly, if there's three of you that want to have a hearing, that's fine. I am not voting for that on the petition that was filed. I think it needs to be dramatically revised before it's anywhere near ready for some kind of hearing.
I wasn't going to speak on this tonight, as I'm running out of time. For the 22 years that I've been on the board, one of the first things I did was got the town board to buy Rockland Psychiatric Center. And I've talked about this before. We bought 348 acres, not because the town was looking to buy 65 abandoned buildings and take charge of those. It was to protect the town. And I believe the board, Bob Bergman was on the board then, we protected the town. We protected the town from the overdevelopment that has happened in Ramapo particularly, but throughout the rest of Rockland County. This town's a special place. And one of the things this board has done is also try to protect other large parcels of land, all right? The IBM Conference Center being one of them that's up for sale right now by the Chinese, all right? The town board, through Teresa Kenny, had enough foresight to come up with a legal definition about the quality of life. Whoever buys that has to maintain the same quality of life we have here in this town. South Nyack did not do that when they allowed Nyack College to go up to sale. We've also looked at other pieces of property, again, with the same type of concern. And I see the Van Houten Farm in that same category. I see it as a trade-off If you need the Rockland cidery in order to stay viable, I believe in supporting it. I also believe in supporting it by accommodating whatever the laws that we have, all right, and that needs to be done and defined when we actually have the final agreement, all right? I think it's important that it stays there in town, all right? I've never been to the cidery. I've walked around. I've gotten plants because my wife drags me down there. I have nothing to do with plants and things like that. But it's a thing where the Van Houten farm, to me, is a jewel here in the town, and it needs to stay there. And I appreciate the people coming out who support it. I understand the people who live right next to it. I live right near a car wash on 304. My neighbors went nuts when that car wash went in. And it's a thing where I say, hey, it's commercial development. Do I want it there? No, I don't want it there. But there are some things that have to happen in order to keep moving forward. And to me, I'm putting a name on the line here saying I support Van Houten Farm. And between our town attorneys, Mr. Quinn, who represents Van Houten, and the board, we will try and come up with something that is amenable to most people on both sides. Thank you.
I think Mr. Bergman spoke words of wisdom. There has to be a happy compromise. I also support moving ahead with the petition and then sitting down and carving out some rules and regulations that will allow them to operate with not totally disrupting the neighborhood. And I think that there is a happy compromise. If you end the music at a reasonable amount of time and you handle the parking situations, and I'm sure we can come up with a compromise that will work. We're probably going to have everybody a little unhappy and everybody a little happy. And if we do that, we did our job properly. So I support moving ahead with the petition, and I also support Van Houten's. Look, I moved up here in the late 80s, and me and my family and kids have been going there. I know Jim, I don't know, 30 years maybe, but a very long time. I recently came to know Darren and Elizabeth, and I do think they are conscious small business owners. And I always find it interesting when people tell you how much money you're making in your business and that you don't need to run part of it a certain way. Because it's very hard to be a small business and be successful in the state of New York. It's almost impossible. So I do support them as a small business in this town. I do support them as a farm. And I think we can come up with a happy compromise. So I want to move forward with the petition so we can hear the public and we can sit down and carve out a plan that works for everybody.
What's an available date in December, Rob? Sorry, what? An available date.
For a public meeting.
There's one meeting in December, the 14th.
All right,
The only thing I would point out, if you're going to do that, you certainly may, would be, I would call the start of the public hearing. The public hearing will start, there certainly will not be ready for an up or down vote that night, because there's, as everybody has acknowledged, work to be done with respect to it. So that would be the first step, would be starting the public hearing that night, probably continuing it on until the next meeting in January.
So what's the motion you make today? To just,
Motion to set the public hearing for December 14th.
on that petition that we have?
Yes.
If that's what the board wants to do.
I think the petition should be amended before you're going to have a hearing on it, but.
I mean, that's part of the whole hearing. There's a petition there. Do I agree with everything in there? No. But do I agree that, the sidewalks should be allowed to continue? Yes. So I'm not going to give them everything they're asking for, but there's a lot of things in there that I think are of value. So let's set the public hearing for the 14th and, look for a decent compromise.
And we've been having people come to the meetings, almost every meeting, for a while, mostly from one side and not the other, and giving their opinions. But they're not part of the public record because it wasn't part of the public hearing. So let's get them on the public record, both sides, and then
carve up that, the petition they got, even if we have to set a new public hearing because we made so many changes to the
Do you
petition.
have to refer it out?
Well, that's why December
Yeah,
14th will work.
We would refer that, what we have out to the other agencies.
Well, that's the issue. I mean, if we could set the public hearing and refer it out, it has to be referred out eventually to the planning board, to Rockland County Planning, et cetera.
That's why the 14th
It's not,
will work.
if you want to send it out, and I think this is to Teresa's point, to send it out as is, the boards and the county planning, et cetera, can comment on it as is. You can start the hearing and start tweaking it on the 14th and send it out after that.
Yeah.
But, it's really up to the board. We haven't really discussed it. I know I did discuss briefly, I'll just mention the petition suggests having agritourism as a use as of right in that zone. My suggestion just at a first look would be not to make it a use as of right, but to make it a special permit type of use so that every time somebody wanted to come in for something like that,
Right.
it would
That's
have to
my
come to the
point.
town
So
board. It
would
would
we
give a little
rather-
more control to the board. So that's, I guess, to Teresa's point about, the petition as is.
Okay, so we can open the public hearing, hear from the public before we send it out, make the amendments, and then send it out, correct?
That could be done, yeah.
Okay, let's do that.
It would start the process. I could, tweak it. I could send it to the building department for their comments, internally, maybe get internal comments and
Right,
suggestions.
so procedurally,
such as
because
the one I just made.
I'm having, no, so presuming we decide a special permit is the more appropriate way to go, we would open it based upon what as a right as of use, and then say, we're going to change it to a special permit.
Right, you could suggest, we're going to, it becomes a local law. In order to do this, you have to amend the law, right? So you would, the proposal would, they've proposed a local law, which I think, as a use as of right, which I think the board disagrees with, but we can tweak it
Is
and
Brian
submit
Quinn still
and
here?
send it around as a special permit type use.
I mean, if you really want to do this the right way, it would be to work with Brian Quinn or the applicant, whoever put it in, to put it in as a special use permit, and that, because otherwise you're having a hearing on something
Listen,
that's not.
they're free to amend the petition if they want, based upon our discussion tonight to,
Hint,
and I can
hint.
certainly speak with them this week if they want to discuss it, but it would just simply be moving it over a column in the zoning code to special permit use as opposed to use as of right. And, there are other tweaks that, people mentioned in terms of food trucks,
Festivities, festivals.
festivals, things of that nature, but again, that could be taken care of at the public
Hours
hearing.
of operation.
Right, hours of operation.
Well, Brian, you can amend it to do it as a special use, right?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, what you have here, understand, is a piece of property that's been owned in the same family for over 200 years. They predate your code. I don't know who came up with R40 for that area, but that's fine. I understand you want to be able to control and allow this only in very special and limited purposes. This property is unique. I think that it would qualify for the special permit. We have no problem making a special use permit.
All right, thank you.
Requirement, And as far as hours of operation, yeah, we want to hear what you have to say. Hours of operation, what takes place there.
Right, and again, it's.
That could all be part of the special use permit, assuming it gets approved.
Right, that's what I was going to say. It's two separate things. It would be amending the law to allow this as a use by special permit. If that passed, then it would be an application for the special permit where you would set the the hours of operation, things of that nature. It would certainly go for site plan as part of that, which would address the parking issues, et cetera. And again, that was my point at the beginning. It's not going to be resolved on December 14th.
So do we need a public hearing for a special permit?
Well, that's jumping the gun. You'd have to change the
You have to change
the local law.
the
You'd have to
whole-
change the zoning code first. That's the first step. My suggestion tonight, and, as Brian's hearing, would be instead of having it as of use, as of right, would be to put it in the special permit section. And the special permit section does have condition, for other uses that are by special permit, there are certain conditions, so they can come up with, that, and I'll certainly speak with them about it. But If you want to set the public hearing for tonight, just to get the process going, in between, they could certainly put in an amended petition.
January, to give them time to get this done, or can they get it done?
Well, again, you're not going to be voting, the 14th is, as you said, if you just want to get the process rolling, it would not be the typically we say, okay, we're ready to roll, the 14th, we're going to do it and likely vote on it. That's not happening here.
So
Just
that's
'cause it's
why
not ready.
So what are you setting up? You have to have something you're spending the hearing for, and if we
Right, it
don't,
would, well, again, it would either be as currently situated, or if they amend it, but then after that 14th meeting, changes could be made. It can be continued to January. When it's ready, when the board says, this is what we like, then we send it out to, county planning, town planning board, do the distribution. Again, it may be January, it may not, but that's what the board is kind of asking for, is like to work it out, hammer it out. That's what the 14th would be, the first. In essence, it's almost like a workshop, if you will, but it's part of the public process, and people could comment and,
Get on the record, so I'm fine with that, Tom. Let's
Yeah.
do 7:05 on the 14th.
7:05 on December 14th.
Make a motion.
I'll make a motion, set the public hearing for December 14th at 7:05.
And I second it.
You want a roll call?
yeah, I think you need roll call.
Roll call.
Yes.
All right, Councilman Dennis Troy?
Yes.
Tom Dibny?
Yes.
Councilman Paul Valentine?
Yes.
Supervisor Truesca?
No.
And Jerry Vittori, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, back to the regular.
Okay. Oh, yeah, you want to take a 5-minute break?
Yeah.
No.
Adjourn for 5 minutes.
Yeah, not even.
Okay.
Barbara, I'll email you the notes tomorrow. Thank you. Yes, and spatulas, and I'm going to make some German farming, which is where you give all the good salad, and you make a big stuff of the sauerkraut. Anyway,
We're going to go back into the regular town board meeting. All right. Up to 12. Motion to reconvene the town board meeting. I think you do. Teresa seconds it. Thank you, Teresa.
Landscape structures for the Veterans Park. There we go. For the Veterans Park Playground.
Rob, can I just ask you a question? Yeah. This grant, there's no strings attached. We're not required to do anything. We're not going to have any. New York State's not going to make us change our zoning because of it. And
No, because this is,
When I applied for the grant, I gave them our residency requirement in the grant paperwork.
oh, excellent.
and this is the same grant from Assemblyman,
Okay.
wait, this is the old ones, Carlucci and Jeffy, okay.
All right, so we can accept the grant without any attachments. All right. I'll make the motion.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion to appoint Denise Lanahan to a member of the planning board for the unexpired term of Bill Young. Dennis Troy move.
Second.
Tom Divany second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion to accept regret the retirement of Karen James from the administrative secretary for the highway department. Motion?
I'll make.
Paul, first, second. Dennis Troy, all in favor?
Aye.
15, approve lend assistance for the Boy Scouts of America for the trunk or treat.
Move.
This is for the use of cones, so, you know,
All right,
so we're
cone.
talking big bucks. Tom moved it,
Yep.
and Dennis seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Award a contract to All County Asphalt for the milling and paving on Hendry Street in Pearl River.
Moved.
Tom Divany, second. Dennis Troy, all in favor?
Aye.
Approve lend assistance to the Chamber of Commerce Halloween Dance Party Trunk or Treat on October 29, 2021. Dennis Troy,
Second.
Tom Divany, all in favor?
Dennis will be dancing.
Number 18, authorize an intermunicipal agreement between Rockland County for the reimbursement of expenses for the Criminal Justice Discovery Act.
I make a motion.
Paul, move, second? What's that?
Second.
Oh, Dennis, all in favor?
Aye.
Appoint Kenneth Gordon to the position of parking enforcement aide, part-time. Motion?
Moved.
Tom Divany, second. Paul Valentine, all in favor?
Aye.
Appoint James Bach to the position of animal control officer, part-time. Dennis Troy, second.
I'll second.
Paul Valentine, all in favor?
Aye.
Approve lend assistance to the Rockland GAA for the Ashling Center 25th Annual Run Walk. Motion?
Moved.
Tom Divany. Dennis Troy, all in favor?
Aye.
Award the bid for the purchase of a Chevrolet 2500 work truck to Robert Green Truck Division. Motion?
Moved.
Tom Divany, second. Dennis Troy, all in favor? Aye. Okay, receive certain documents here, time board minutes, the agreement with FEMA for use of the Orangetown Soccer Complex, the agreement with Rockland County for the reimbursement of law enforcement overtime, and the agreement with the South Orangetown School District.
Moved.
Rob, I guess it was signed. Was there, oh, maybe it was on the pool? Wasn't there? Oh, the pool.
No,
one was being held?
that's the SRO.
Yeah, but was there something with the pool? I saw an email. Did it get held up over or something?
No, I think we have an agreement on that.
Okay, I thought I saw an email that there was some kind of hold up. Okay, did I get a motion on that?
Moved.
Tom Divany, second. Paul Valentine, all in favor?
Aye.
On the audit?
Okay, tonight's audit consists of 2 warrants for $1.2 million. The first warrant had 49 vouchers for $262,000 and was for utilities. Second warrant had 99 vouchers for $972,000. Items of interest: number 1, Capasso, $74,000 for recycling. Number 3, Commissioner of Taxation and Finance, $15,000 for the third quarter workers' comp board payment. Number 4, Michael Cotter, $15,000 for CTR inspections. Number 6, Global Mantello, $17,000 for fuel. Number 9, Department of Civil Service, $730,000 for healthcare insurance. And number 11, Scalise and Hamilton, $17,000 for outside counsel. Any question on the audit?
No. Motion to accept the audit?
Moved.
Tom Divany, second. Dennis Troy, all in favor?
Aye.
So, executive session, no executive session. No, I think, I know, Mr. Dean.
Well, you guys know I gotta go.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay, so we could just go in this room here, right? Okay, then? Okay, so, you can go to that way. Okay, we're gonna make a motion to go into executive session. We're not gonna be voting on anything when we come out. I just want to show that we have some adjournments in memory of Dominic Diorio, is a resident of Tapan and former Orangetown, Demi, and Blue Hill Golf Course employee. Michael Fury, former Orangetown deputy town attorney, and Catino Mario Miano, resident of Tapan and the father of assistant building inspector Domenico Miano. So.
Can I add on to John Corley, who was the first president of the Gaelic Athletic Association?
How'd you not have him in here? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Very tied into Orangetown.
Okay. Okay, so can I get a motion?
Moved.
Tom Divany? Dennis Troy, all in favor? Aye. Okay.